Welcome, guys, ladies. Now, this theory is something I've been holding on to for a very, very long time. Before I even started doing these videos, I even asked other YouTubers what they thought of this. I really couldn't get anyone on board, so here I am pitching it to you guys, so let's go. So I must preface this video with three things. One, that Shutara is my favorite Zero Squad member. Two, that Kisuke is my favorite character and Soul Reaper in the series. And three, that the one thing that really kind of disproves this theory I'm going on with is the fact that Shutara and Kisuke have zero interactions in the series. Even at the start, when the Zero Squad shows up, they start having their past interactions with the characters they know, and Kisuke shows up, but there's nothing, not even an eye glance between him and Shutara. The only person she has a real interaction with the past is Mayuri. This actually doesn't disprove my theory, but it actually helps it, and I'm about to get into why. I believe that Shutara, Mayuri, and Kisuke would share the same relationship that we would see years later with Kisuke, Mayuri, and Akon right before the events of Sosuke Aizen. This relationship would explain Mayuri and Kisuke's familiarity with each other beyond just the maggot's nest. Mayuri wasn't initially so antagonistic to Kisuke, he almost treated him as if he was a former colleague or competitor at some point. But once Mayuri became free, he kinda turned it more into a rivalry. This makes sense if they were both former students of the same person. But if Kisuke was closer to Shutara in age and skill, this would explain why he was free and Mayuri was not. Mayuri possibly got in trouble based on what Kubo said about Mayuri being locked up in Maggot's Nest. Kubo even mentions just how important Akon actually is. Basically what I'm getting at is there is a theme of master and apprentice being continued throughout. Shutara was responsible for creating the Shutara scales, which we see at the start of the Thousand Year Blood War, which is what measures the existence of hollows and when things become unbalanced. Between that and creating the Shakusho, it makes sense how she got to the Royal Guard. Having a very close and deep relationship with Shutara would actually give Kisuke access to the Korinji healing pools that he was able to apparently analyze enough to copy, and this would also give him access to the secrets of the world like the Soul King that we know he knows. Now, originally, Shutara's age really got thrown off by the comment she makes to Mayuri, because I guess I kind of read it wrong when she says that, it's been a while since I've seen you, the locks weren't this bad the last time I was here. But finding out she made the Shihakusho, and we see a young Yamamoto with the Shihakusho, and the fact that she saw Yuha during the First War, and that Mayuri himself has some information about what happened in the First War, it would only make sense that Shutara is as old, or if not just slightly younger than Yamamoto, and has seen most of the things and told Mayuri about it. Where this really starts to get fun is this idea that Zanpakuto spirits are very similar to their owners, and oftentimes will take on images that mean something to their owners. This even applies to the inner worlds. But what the most interesting theory is that male Soul Reapers who have female Zanpakuto spirits, there seems to be a connection between the male themselves and a possible female mentor or adult figure that they looked up to. Kenpachi Zaraki's female figure was the namesake that he gave to his daughter or Zanpakuto spirit, Yachiru. For Shunsui, it was his brother's wife who mended the relationship between him and his brother. As is Shiro Kenpachi, who is a novel character, his sister and Zanpakuto spirit look exactly the same, and his sister had a very traumatic and beautiful part of his life. Now, jumping over to Kisuke Urahara, my favorite character, when we take a look at Kisuke's Bankai, when we take a look at Shutara, we see some fantastic similarities. The first one being pretty obvious, Shutara is the goddess of the seamstress. When we look at his Bankai, we see stitching. Not too exactly perfect, but let's continue. Then we look at the dark black hair. Still not perfect. What it really gets interesting is when you look at the arms of his Bankai, they look like mannequin arms or automatons. When you look at what Senjumaru's specialty is or how she functions, it's the same thing. If that part of the theory is to be believed, then that means that she has some very serious connection to Kisuke, and it would make sense. This is the woman who trained him, who gave him all the knowledge of the world that he has, and probably gave him a future that he may or may not have ever had. Digging a bit deeper, this makes sense why his Zanpakuto abilities are what they are. He controls energy in his Shikai, and then in his Bankai it allows him to reconstruct spiritual matter. This makes sense as a scientist and is very similar to what she does. She takes fabrics, reconstructs things with them and actually allows her to control the world. She's created illusions. She's turned Nyanza Weisel's simple coat into a reverse Iron Maiden. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Now I'll show you. When Kubo finally gives us the backstory for Yoruichi, Kisuke, and Tessai, I think we're going to see a lot of connections to the Royal Guard. I wouldn't be shocked if we see Tessai is somehow related to Senjumaru or another one of these characters. I genuinely don't believe that showing us Kisuke's Bankai and giving us a thorough example of what Shutara does in the same exact arc was a coincidence. I think Kubo was hinting at something, and I'm not sure what it is, but it may have something to do with that Kisuke at one point had a very similar thought process to Sosuke Aizen, but got over it and decided to find a new way to fix the world with the Hogyoku. And like most, I suspect that he used his Bankai to make the Hogyoku. And if this Hell chapter ends up being as crazy as we think it is, Kubo may go back to the idea of making Kisuke the villain again. And with his knowledge and connections, it would make a lot of sense. But that's it for this theory, folks. Please ignore my ramblings. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Let me know what you think, though. Alright? Thank you for watching. Please remember, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Give me some suggestions. I have a couple other theory things going on up here in my brain. I might do something about Rukia. We'll see. Like I said, let me know. Y'all have a good day. Bye.